Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I haven't been here for about 3 months now, and I'm so sorry. But it's a new year, and yes, we thought, why not? Let's come bigger and better. The video I'm about to share with you, I shot it about 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago this month, and this was my labor story. And I was 2 months postpartum at this moment, so it was still fresh in my memory. And I just randomly just shot the video to keep the memories, because now I'm also forgetting a little bit. So I'm really glad that I shot that video. And this is a tip to all moms: if you really just want to preserve the memory of, the first few months of your labor story, birth story, or the first few weeks of postpartum, you can take a video or a voice memo, which I did. I did a video, and I'm actually happy I did, because it was just random, and I said, I was like, oh, this is actually good storytelling. So then I thought, okay, why not share that as the first video of the year? Because this year, or this month, would have made it 1 year that I made that video. It's still very relevant, and I relive memories through that video, and I decided to share with you guys. Anyways, enough chit-chatting. Without further ado, let's start the video. I don't know why I'm sharing this, just like I'm talking to a friend on FaceTime, because why not? So imagine this is a FaceTime, and I call you, and we're chatting. So let's act that out. Hi, how are? Yes, I'm fine. How's baby doing? Baby's doing well, amazing. How are you? How was your health? Very fine. Also, how was your labor journey? Okay, let's start. Let's pause. Now this is where I come in. So guys, this is my labor story and delivery story. I don't know what the acting was, but it is acting. Somewhat. I'm better than that, trust me. Anyways, guys, so my labor and delivery story started at when I was exactly 39 weeks. So I had not so much infamous and induced labor. Why? Because your girl is asthmatic. And what happened? That is the product of my labor and delivery. Okay, she's gone back to sleep. We can continue. She gave us time. So I was induced at 39 weeks, and I was, because I'm an asthma patient. In pregnancy, asthma actually, why am I saying Asthma makes the pregnancy or your breathing worse. On some people, actually, it doesn't. It actually makes it better. So I heard from my midwife. For me, it didn't really make it so much better. I mean, it made it quite worse, because my type of asthma is very seasonal. So I probably twice in a year I would have an attack, and I always have my inhaler, and just in case, but it's actually not that heavy. But what happened when I was 20 weeks pregnant, I had a very, very heavy attack. It took like 3 days. I was wheezing. Even though I was still going to work, but it was quite a struggle. My inhaler was always on standby. I needed it to breathe. Going up the stairs and coming back was a struggle. I went to the emergency room, and they were like, oh yeah, because of pregnancy, it's possible that your breathing gets worse. Weight or the lungs, everything is moving and shifting. So even because you already have an asthma, so it probably is getting worse. And that was just 20 weeks. I was like, okay, it's fine. 3 days after the asthma went, and I was back to my breathing patterns again, and it was okay. Fast forward to about, I can't even remember how many weeks, the breathing started getting worse. I could not breathe properly. We have stairs in our house, so me going up the stairs and back was quite a hustle. Even though I would say that I was quite active, I could carry myself during pregnancy. I didn't really have a big bump, but the fact the breathing did not change. So then I went to seek advice from my midwife, and then at 37 weeks, she was like, yeah, the only thing is wait it out and probably just see how far you can push to get to the 40 weeks. Since it's a first pregnancy, it probably would take a little bit longer. We'll probably get to 40 weeks or even more longer, but see how far you can go. But I can always refer you to a gynecologist who will give you more advice and probably see what they can do for you. So we went to the appointment. I can't really remember the dates and details, but I went to see a gynecologist with my husband, And the advice she gave was, there's really nothing we can do about the asthma. It's pregnancy already. Without asthma, your breathing can get worse. And so there's really nothing we can do. The baby is comfortable, but mama is not comfortable. So the only thing that we can actually do and advise is an induced labor, but this can only happen at 39 weeks. And she was like, it's up to you. See how far you can go. And she was like, okay, how far do we have? How far do you give us, mama? So I was at 38 weeks and some days, or yeah, 38 weeks and maybe one day. And she was like, okay, how far do you think you can push, mama? I said, let us try 39 weeks. So she already put an appointment at 39 weeks. We're going to go for induced labor. But this was just optional. It was still an optional choice. You can always call and say, I'm not doing this. I will wait it out. So this was my choice and my option now. So they've given me a choice and just opportunity to come at 39 weeks to do this or not. So I went home that day, me and my husband. On the way from the hospital, we talked about it. Do I really want to induce labor? Because I've heard about induction. It's not always glamorous. You probably wait for days. This is also what the gynecologist said. You probably wait for days, and when you're waiting for days, at the end of the day, they probably tell you you still need to do a C-section, and it probably would end a C-section if the labor is not progressing. And I knew all this, but I was like, okay, I have two options: wait it out, see if I can handle the breathing, or have an induction or induced labor. Hopefully it goes well and everything. Anyways, I discussed it with my mom, we discussed about it, but I was just very open. I was waiting to the last moment to see if I really would go for this induction or not. I did not have a decision. I didn't have a decision yet. So days went by, and on Thursday, I really could not take it anymore. So that's Wednesday night, and Thursday, I still had the opportunity to call it off. And then I just decided, yes, we are going to have the induction labor. So I went to the hospital on Thursday morning. I was admitted to be induced that morning, 7 a.m. in the morning. This was the video. And yes, my hospital bag has been ready, I think, by 35 weeks. I packed, finally finished packing my hospital bag. So all we had is ready. So induction or natural labor, our hospital bags were already packed and good to go. So only that morning I decided to, okay, let's go. And then we did it. We went, called my mom, and my mom came with my sisters. Me and my husband, we went to the hospital, and that was it's gonna start. Now let me catch a breath. So at 39 weeks exactly, a Thursday morning on the 24th of October 2024. I mean, it would have been a beautiful thing if labor went so fast. I was induced that day and I gave birth on that day, because that date is just perfect, right? 24/10/2024. That was also what one of the nurses said when she was writing the date on the board. And then we were like, yeah, but probably it will not happen, because yeah, it is not, it's likely almost not going to happen, because you're the first time mom, and yeah, it's an induced labor. And they also told me the precautions. You might stay here between 1, 2, 3, 5 days before the labor starts progressing, and yeah, it takes a long time. And I was like, oh yes, I know the norms and everything. By day one, they gave me some pills to start, so like every 3 hours, so the morning, afternoon, night, I took the first pill. Nothing happened. I think at 12 p.m, 8:30, I took the first one. Nothing happened. At 12 p.m, I took the second one. Nothing happened. And the third one, I think I started having I felt something. Started having, some feelings. By the second one, I was just like, okay, this is getting interesting, because just waiting. And I think towards I took the third pill, and then I asked that, okay, as labor progressed at all. So they came to do a sweep to see how far I've gone, and I think I was 1 centimeter, and I was like, what's going on? What do you mean? I've been here for hours. It's 1 centimeter. At that moment, I knew this is the sound. Yeah, I knew I was into it. It's like, wait, if this is just the first day, how long do I need to stay? I am already feeling some crampings, but I am just 1 centimeter dilated. Let's get into it. What? But anyways, by the first day, they tried to put a balloon, and a balloon should drop when you are 3 weeks dilated, so the balloon will drop. So they put a balloon, and also inserting the balloon was also not it was just a lot. It took, I think, several trials, several people, and that was also traumatizing. But finally, balloon was being inserted, and we called it a day. They told, go and rest, you've gone through a lot today, because mind you, by the way, so I think by the second pew I started feeling some cramping. It started, but it didn't start steadily. So it was going to be, I would have like one contraction and it will contract, but then maybe I'll have another one in the next 5-10 minutes. It wasn't really, we had a lot of gaps in the first day. So by the time the balloon was in, I was having like probably 1 to 2 contractions every maybe 10 minutes. So it wasn't really that much. I was able to handle it. At the end of the night, we're like, okay, we need to just get you to rest. When you rest, tomorrow is another day. We're gonna try to get this baby out. The next day comes, second day, and still contracting, by the way. So, but it was just I up. Second day comes and the balloon has fallen down. But then they were like, they were not sure if it fell down because it wasn't inserted properly, or I'm dilated. And I was like, what do you mean? I just went through like several attempts, like 4 attempts of trying to put the balloon. Now you're telling me that 4 attempts, no one did it properly. Anyways, they checked again and they were like, indeed, I've dilated, but it wasn't because of the balloon. The balloon fell and they didn't see. I don't know how they would know if it wasn't the balloon or not. But then they said they're gonna try again to put the balloon, and I was like, okay. I don't even remember. But anyways, they put the balloon again the second day. It was a long day because I can't remember all the details. But I know that they tried to put the balloon again. And this time, the first time I was only with my husband, and it was really painful. So I held my husband and the nurse. So this time my mom was like, oh, can I come with? And then so I had my mom and my husband when they were trying to insert the balloon. Because in my birth plan, like during my labor, I'll have my mom and my husband. So when we went to the labor room to insert the balloon for the 5th time, the second day, it was not a nurse this time, it was a doctor, because they already recorded in the previous day that the nurses tried, another nurses tried, and they could not do it. So now they asked, and also another doctor, so asked a different doctor to try, or student doctor tried. So this time they asked a doctor, and then she was able to insert it correctly. And then I was just like, all the pain you guys took me through, no one did their jobs. No one. But anyways, so the balloon, was inserted. And yes. And I think then in the afternoon, then I was dilated 3 centimeters. From 1 to 3. And then the balloon dropped naturally on its own as it should be. And then they were like, okay, you are actually dilated enough for them to break the water, but they would not want to do that. But at the point I was done with the waiting and the contraction, I was just done with it. And then I asked, what's next? What are we doing? I'm frustrated at this point, hours and hours, and I feel I just dilated 1 or 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters max, and this is already hours. This is the second day going to the third day, because this was the evening. So late in the late afternoon, I asked. That was around 3:30, about 4 p.m. Mind you, I was the previous day, 7 a.m. already started this journey. So by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. the second day, I asked what's going on. And then they said, okay, they would try to break the water. And I think we can move to the labor room to start labor, active labor. And then they will put me on drips, water. They just to make the so the labor can progress. And then we'll move to a different room. So where the induction starts is different from where you deliver. So they told us to pack up our things. So at that point, I think I was 3 or 4 centimeter dilated. So we packed our things for the water, so for them to break the water. They brought the nurses, the doctors, everyone. Hi, they introduced themselves. So we're going to be a labor team, delivery team, and we hope that labor progresses with the help of it's a drip. It's like instead of the tablet, we now moved now to like a drip. So for active labor or something, I don't know the name of the drip, but then that was gonna boost the contractions so that I would be more dilated, to help the dilation, to help the labor. So we moved, me, my mom, my husband, and we all moved to the other room, the labor room, a new room, and that's what's going to be our suit for to when we see when we actually start pushing, or when the labor start progressing. So my sisters and my mother-in-law, were waiting in the reception of the family room of the hospital, while me, my mom, and my husband went to the labor room. When they checked, they could see I was 4 centimeters dilated, and they were like, okay, I think we can break the water to see if it will get to progress labor, and also with the drip. So they did break the water, and it was clear, thankfully. So they were like, okay, that's a good sign. They immediately put the baby on monitor, and because the water is out, because they already broke the water, they needed to monitor the baby from within, actually. So they put a baby monitor from within, and then they could actually track the baby's heartbeat to see everything is okay with the baby, and she was doing well. So I needed to just progress with my labor, and for me to move properly, they also gave me like not a detached one with a screen, but the ones I could carry around, so I could have some sort of different types of relief, or how I want to relieve the pain. So this was 4 centimeters dilated. I was already with my husband and my mom. It was then the pain started progressing because the drip was dripping. At this point, they increased the the amount of drips I could get, and then I started feeling it. I was already in labor. I was already feeling the contractions already, like in labor, but these ones were not the same. It was hard. It was like every second, every minute. I did not have 1 minute of rest. So it was like 10. It was like 10 contractions in one. It was no break. In the beginning, when we first got there, it was just like, okay, every 3 minutes, I would have I would squeeze my mom's hand, I would squeeze my husband's hand. At a point, I could not do it anymore. I had to use a shower. I was like, what's going on? And at the point, and then I used the shower as my pain. How did it to calm the pain? And because they were not allowed to give an epidural onto you could take an epidural, that was always, but you were not allowed to get I think it's the gas and air until I don't know, 6 centimeters or 5. I don't know. I knew at that point I was not allowed to take the gas and air. I was only allowed to, it's either the epidural or the natural ways, and like my husband trying to massage my back, breathing techniques, the shower. Those were my options. So by 4 centimeters, and they came again to check. They saw I was already 5 centimeters dilated. I was like, oh hallelujah, 5 centimeters dilated. We are already halfway there, thankfully. The second day we are halfway there. So they're like, oh, with the way it seems you're already 5 centimeters, I think your body is reacting now, so probably the labor will progress, and you don't really need so much of the drip. So I was holding on to that belief, hope. And then we went to we just kept on, I was just trying to breathe out the pain, went to the shower, I was holding, trying on my best just to hold it together in all the pains, 5 centimeters. But at the point when I was in the shower, it was not stopping, no rest. I was already getting tired of trying to puff out the pain, because I didn't really have anything. It was just natural things we were offering. And so by 5 centimeters, I just said, okay, what is my options of pain relief? They're like, yeah, for this centimeter, you only have epidural. And I was like, give it to me. What? That's it? That would take me off this pain? Because it wasn't just the pain. It was already I was just like, I need to rest from this pain. This pain is every minute of the clock. So it wasn't going away. So already I am tired of trying to puff out the pain. Then I still need to push. I need some rest at this point. How am I going to push? And now am I going to survive the rest of the centimeters? Because it felt so long already. The second day, this is already around 8 p.m. I was 5 centimeters, 8 p.m. the second day. So hours of pains, I was really tired. So we went, and then we went to take the epidural. Thankfully, my husband was able to come with me and the nurse. The three of us went to the waiting room. And funny enough, because I hear a lot on like TikTok, like, oh, when you get an epidural, or some hospitals, your husband or your partner, your husband is not able to go with you. And I'm like, why? Actually, that's one very, very dramatic. You need someone that you trust to hold your hand and be there with you. So I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you went with your birth partner or not. Because I was able to go with my husband, and it was really very comforting to know someone that's there. But also, of course, the nurse, who has been very kind throughout the night, was there. And funny enough, side story, the particular nurse that was with me when I was about to deliver was a nurse that I've gone through to check. I think at 28 weeks, I went to the hospital to triage to check if everything was okay, because I was not really hearing the heartbeat of my baby, but she was okay. She was just sleeping. So that was a nurse I've met before. So when I saw her during the delivery time, I was like, hey, I know you. She said you have 30 minutes, 30 seconds. So I was like, oh, I know you. And then she was like, oh, okay, I see a lot of women, but I'm glad that you had a good experience. So it was also quite comforting that I know this person, just loves the job regardless of who you are. Or yeah. So I was with my husband and this nurse, and we went to get an epidural. And of course, you remember with an epidural at 5 centimeters, you're already in labor, actually. And with the induction, it's every time. So at a point, I had to I was like, how was I gonna do it? I need to stay still, but also I was already in active labor. So my point, I don't care whatever centimeter active labor is, what I felt was active labor. But anyways, I was like, okay, how was I gonna do it? So at this point, I had like seconds in between. They had seconds to like a minute. I don't even know how, but they didn't have a lot of time for me to have another contraction and then stop before they put the epidural, the needle. So it was I was just praying to God. I was like, God, let me just hold my hands, angels. Don't let me move, because I've known the stories. If you move, it goes the wrong way. It's not good. But thankfully, the person who was gonna put the epidural, was very talkative in the sense of, epidural, at the back, I don't know if you've hacked or checked your back is straight and it was just talking, and he said, just shout or just tell me when you have a contraction. I promise you I will stop. So anytime I just felt that or thought a contraction was coming, I was like, contraction, everyone stop. So he stopped every time. He had to stop when I had a contraction. So it took some time, but eventually we got it done. And I will not say it took some time. I think I think I was done within 10 minutes. I don't even know, but it wasn't that far, and actually did not feel a pain. I just felt like a sting, or like and the epidural was in, and I felt like, oh, I could rest. And it wasn't just epidural and that's it. They kept on pumping it up to see, okay, do you still feel pain? I was like, yeah, I still feel a little bit of pain. So they didn't want to numb it totally, that you don't feel anything. They wanted to like at least to the point where you were able to rest and you still be able to feel the push. So it just kept pumping, and then to when I said, okay, it's okay, I think I'm good with the pain level, and then they stopped, and then I was able to go back to my room. And finally, I was able to rest. But mind you, I was still 5 centimeters dilated. They came again to check the baby, and the doctors came to check the babies to know if the baby is doing well, because now it's some time that the water has been broken, and also to check if the labor has progressed. But Guess what? The labor hasn't progressed. I was still on 5 centimeters. Lord. But even though they could see on the monitor, there was an active labor. Literally, there was contractions every minute. When they were wondering what's going on, this is not normal, because we see you're actually having that contractions for you to progress labor, but the body is not progressing. And what did they do? 2 hours later, they came to check again. The labor wasn't progressing, 5 centimeters. And then they were like, okay, at this point, we would probably have to, we are willing to wait, but at this point, we are already suggesting for a C-section. And I was like, that almost, I felt disappointed, not because it's a C-section, but because I know that, why didn't we have this earlier? Why did I have to go through all that? The epidural, this, that, the pain, and then just tell me, oh yes, we could just go to the OR and get this over with within 20 minutes. And then I was like, anyways, God, take your will. Your will shall be done. So they told me, think about it. Let's know what you feel. But they think the body is not the body is not progressing. The labor is not progressing. So that's what they suggest. So then they told me they would come back and see what I think about it. And then I was like, okay, I know, yeah, there's nothing about C-sections. And then they gave the assurance that they've done this multiple times. They are experienced with it, so I'm in good hands. And they gave me a book to check if how the C-section goes. I said I didn't want to know how the C-section goes, because at this point in my brain I was like, I think I'm going to do this anyways. So I don't want to see pictures. I just want to trust that by God's grace I will go and come out. And then I gave it to my mom and my husband to check. And I called my sisters in Canada that just recently had a baby, and also my other sister that has she had a twins 2 years ago, so they were together. And then they gave me assurance that everything's going to be all right. It's a C-section, you would be fine. Just know that you probably feel numb, which I already felt because of the epidural anyways, and it will be fine. You got this. It's not out of the norm. You are okay. And yeah, that gave me a little bit of a boost. And then I called my father. This is what is going on. And my sisters in Canada and my father. And those are the people I was interested to tell at that moment, because I was trying to process the whole thing that I just went through. So the doctors came, and then they were like, okay, we're going to check again. And if it's really not 5 centimeters, we need to call the OR. And we need to relieve you of this pain. Relieve you, and just to make sure mommy and baby are all right and sound. And they were like, look at the bright of it. You will see her then in the next 20 minutes, or when they call us that the operating room is opened. So she called in, and trust me, in the next 5 minutes, next 5 minutes, or no, 10 minutes, she called. And then they were still trying to like arrange our bags and everything. My mom and my husband and the nurses, since we're not delivering naturally, we need to move after the operating room to the postpartum room. Until then, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, they just said, oh, an operating room is free, you're able to come. I was like, wait a minute, I thought it'd probably be in the next 1 or 2 hours. They're like, no, they are ready for us. There's the team is ready, you are able to go. And I was like, what is happening? I'm going to see my baby, I'm going to see our child very soon. And they told, yeah, mama, that's my mother, you probably not be able to join her, but only her husband will join. And I were able to go to the operating room, and yes, our baby was delivered. It was very, very, actually, I would say, I'll give it to them, was a wonderful experience, because when I got in, I told my husband to scrub up, and the guy that was giving my husband like to scrub up and taking me from the nurses. So before you enter the operating room, they will hand you over to the operating room staffs. So the nurses there were very kind. Oh my God, what's your name? Oh, how cute. And then it was like a guy was like just like a father, because he just kept, oh, you're gonna do well, my see. Like it was just very, very fatally. That was before the operating room. And then they took over from the nurses of the labor to they handed off to the operating room nurses, and then they took me to the operating room, and then the anesthesiologist, I don't know the word, but But the same guy who gave me the epidural was there again. And I was like, what are you doing there? It's like, yes, I am still on of course, on duty, and I will be doing your C-section pain, killer pain for the C-section. So he did it again. I already had the thing on my hand, so they didn't really have to look for another one. So they just inserted it in the same place. And from the epidural, so all was there. So they just put the C-section, the needle for the C-section in. Yeah, then I could not feel, so that was not meant me to feel anything, but still be conscious, because I needed to see the time when my baby will come out. It was actually very fast. And then the surgeon introduced himself. They asked some questions for the staffs, asked for my name, what I was there to do, just to be conscious I was knowing what I was doing. I said my name, I'm here to deliver a baby through C-section, and it's like, yay. So they were just trying to be positive about it, I would say. And they were like, yeah, it's not gonna take long, you see a baby, and then just the stitching will take a little bit longer. I was like, all clear, I get it, let's get into it. So they got into it. I was just singing throughout. I was just singing any song that came to my mind, worship song. Oh Jesus, I surrender. Like, I was just singing throughout the whole time, because I was like, what, these people are cutting into me. I'm here. But there was a cutting, of course. I could not see what they were doing. There was a cutting, and there was just, this is me lying down, there's a cutting from me and before me, and then they were operating, of course, out my stomach. I could not feel anything. So, but I just, from my stomach downwards, I was not able to feel anything. But so when my baby came, I was hearing. So I think when they already got through and they were about to bring her out, they opened the curtain, and when she came out, she started crying, and then they showed her, like, they put her towards the curtain like plastic, and then they showed her, and then they, you know, show her to me, and I was like, oh my God. I still kept on singing at that time. I was like, oh my God. But he kept on holding my hands, and it was like, we're just praying. And then it was wondering, why were you so calm? Like, these people are cutting into you, are so calm, you were singing. And then he also, of course, saw the baby, and then they brought the baby to the nurse, and also the doctor, the child doctor, and then he was able to cut off the umbilical cord. And why they were still stitching me, of course. So they did that, and then immediately they brought, when he did that, immediately they brought her to me. So I had like a kangaroo sack, a top, and they put her there, and then she was there. And then they put baby, and baby was just with, then I felt the first time skin to skin. She was crying, and then she stopped crying. Almost immediately she was here, and then we both were talking to her. My husband and I were talking to her. Oh my God, welcome to the world, you're so precious. And then the nurse or the doctor asked of our name, what's the name of baby? And then we gave the name of baby. It told us to write. I was like, oh, beautiful name. And it was just hit me that, wait, this is the baby we're giving this name to. This is the name they're gonna record. There's no going back. So we really need to spell it properly. So we actually gave the name, and we gave them a short form of the name, what we want, and the baby was registered. They stitched me up, and no time I was ready to go out, you can see, of the operating room, and I was already on my way back to the postpartum. The nurses, post surgery, they checked on my vitals. I was clear. I had to stay there for like about 5-10 minutes, or even 20. And then we and my husband were just thanking God, praying. And then it was when he announced to the family and the chat, we are out of the operating room. Fast forward, we went to the postpartum room. My family, they were in the family room, were waiting, so that my mom has now at this point gone to meet my sisters and my mother-in-law, who were been waiting in the family room for a while. And then they waited. It was he announced to the family chats, and everyone was excited. So when I was moving, now we're on our way to the postpartum room. Going to the postpartum room, you would see the department of the postpartum department. You would have to pass through the family room. So that's when my sisters and my mom and mother-in-law, all of them were shouting, yo, drove past them. So we're all excited. Yay! So that was actually a cute moment. We was born on the 26th of October. So your girl has been in the labor, was already active around on the 24th in the afternoon to the 26th morning. Yeah, it was a lot. But she is here. We are grateful, we are thankful, and we're just thankful to God. It was a long one, but I would say all the glory belongs to God. We're glad. Healthy baby, healthy mama, and healthy papa. So thank you guys. That was my birth, labor, and delivery story. It was interesting, long one, but I think it's something that I just wanted to share, just for so maybe somebody who's pregnant now thinking, oh, how is induction like? I think it's different for everybody, and it doesn't always have to be hard. I've heard people who, when it was fast for them, that same day the baby came, they could not even wait for an epidural. It went actually very fast. Or some ones that actually went longer, but even they still delivered naturally. So even though it was like 2 days, they still delivered naturally because their body, the labor was progressing. So for everyone, the most important is, I think, the everyone is healthy. Mom and baby is healthy, papa is healthy, everyone is healthy, and that's the most important thing. So take it from me. You're doing well, mama. You're doing well, papa. You're doing well, and you are the best. And do not compare yourself to anyone.
Thank you so much for watching. If you're here to this moment, thank you so much for watching. How was it? How was it? Yeah. If you're a new mom, or you're a mom to be trying to search for other moms' experience, just know that everyone has a unique experience. So don't be, how would I say, don't be scared, or don't be nervous or anxious about this experience. Yes, motherhood it is not easy. It's hard. Motherhood is hard, or labor and delivery, but you just remember that your body is made for it. You will get through it no matter what. And just make sure you have the right support system with you, and God will see you through. And with God, all things is possible, and all things will go well. Don't forget to ask for help when you need. I hope you're able to connect with this video and with me, because of course I'm making the video. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to share this video, like, subscribe, comment in this comment section. Are you a new mom, or are you mom in expecting? Are you someone who just wishes to be a mom someday and you came across this video? Let me know and let us chat in the comment. I would like to meet new moms. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Adios amigos. Mwah.